Hello, today I present to you an extremely attractive application for music lovers. It's completely free. You can listen to music online or download unlimited music to use whenever you don't have internet. The powerful search function helps you find anything you want. Trust me. It's hard not to find what you're looking for because the search function is really powerful. Application download link is attached in the description of the video. I'm pretty sure you'll like it. Thanks.
Pennsylvania Congressman Conor Lamb is expected to launch his bid for Senate this week. The Democrat represents the state's 17th district, covering most of Pittsburgh's northwestern suburbs. Lamb is expected to announce his bid Friday at a union hall on the city's south side. Lamb would join a crowded 2022 field of candidates vying to replace retiring Republican Senator Pat Toomy. Jon Delano joins me now. He is money and politics editor for our Pittsburgh station KDKA and broke this story last week. Jon, I'm so excited to talk to you. It's been
it's always great to be with you, Elaine.
Time.
Yeah, it's great to see you.
So we have a lot to talk about. First of all, this is a crowded field. As we said, Conor Lamb would join at least 9 other Democratic candidates in this race. Where does he fit in within the field of contenders?
Well, it's my view that Conor Lamb really shakes up this race for the Senate here in Pennsylvania in 2022. This is an open seat, and it's rare that you have open seats for the U.S. Senate anywhere, but particularly here in Pennsylvania, where our senators seem to last like Arlen Specter for 30 years in the Senate. So this is a great opportunity for Lamb and the other candidates as well. He is by far the more moderate of the candidates who have announced thus far. There are really principally maybe 4 candidates, 5 candidates in general, who we'd call front runners or at least contenders of the 10 that you noted. But the bottom line is that Conor Lamb is one of them. He is one of them because he is someone with a well-known name, has become well-known across the state for winning Republican races, Republican seats, defeating Republican incumbent Congress members, as a matter of fact. So he enters this race as someone who is a proven winner. He won 3 congressional elections in just 3 years. That's pretty amazing. And I think a lot of people are going to watch him closely to see if he can take on some of these other Democrats who are in the race.
So, you know, it's interesting. At the time, the 2016 race between Pat Toomy and Democratic challenger Katie McGinty was one of the most expensive in U.S. history. How expensive is this race expected to be?
Well, it's good of you to remember that race. 2016 set a record in Pennsylvania. $138 million was spent for a seat, one seat in the U.S. Senate. This race, this coming year in 2022, could rival that. Both parties see an opportunity here. And of course, we've got strong contenders in both parties who are already raising millions of dollars. It's hard to believe. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, for example, who is a Democrat contending for this seat, has already raised $6.5 million. Elaine, that's an incredible sum of money to have raised so early in the election process for a non-incumbent. And so Fetterman, certainly he has about $3 million in the bank. He's been spending the money, but he certainly has $3 million in the bank now, compared to Conor Lamb has about $1.8 million in the bank. And let's not forget Montgomery County Commissioner Val Arkush, a medical doctor who is the chair of the Montgomery County Commission in suburban Philadelphia. She has raised over $1 million and has about, just $600,000 in the bank. So she's running behind in the fundraising count, but she's the only woman in the race. She's from suburbia, and she's from part of the state that is really very critical for Democrats in this coming year and years to come, I suspect.
So let's talk about that a bit more. We showed a map at the top. What regions of the state, Jon, will be key to winning the Democratic primary?
Well, I think I sort of indicated Philadelphia and its suburbs. It used to be that Western Pennsylvania was the key, but we've got a lot of Democrats who have become Republicans because they are really Trump Democrats. And we've seen a lot of registration changes in Western Pennsylvania. while Democrats have continued to grow in southeastern Pennsylvania. So I do believe it's one of the real battlegrounds, not just the city of Philadelphia, which has some candidates of its own, but suburban Philadelphia becomes incredibly important. Now, it's not enough to just win in Philadelphia or win the suburbs. You really do have to win statewide. I don't want to discount Pittsburgh and Western Pennsylvania, but I think if you were to point to one region that's key, that's one of them. And by the way, Conor Lamb knows this because last year his uncle, the city controller of Pittsburgh, Michael Lamb, was the only Western Pennsylvania Democrat running for Auditor General in the Democratic primary. And guess who beat him? He was defeated by a woman from Philadelphia, Nina Ahmed, once again showing the strength of Philadelphia. This is a very complicated state. It's a very large state, and there are pockets of Democrats all over the place that a Democratic candidate will have to win.
Yeah. So tell us more, Jon, about the Republican candidates. Is there a clear frontrunner?
Yeah, you know, Elaine, there are 10 candidates on the Republican side, just as there are 10 on the Democrats. You know, again, sheer evidence of how up for grabs this seat is and how important both parties view it. I would say there are several leading contenders, one of whom is Sean Parnell, who is a Afghan war veteran, an author, a commentator on one of the alternative cable news stations. He has been very aligned with President Trump, and he's been a strong contender. He ran against, believe it or not, he ran against Conor Lamb for Congress in the 17th district last year and only lost by 9,000 votes. It sets up a very interesting prospect of Sean Parnell versus Conor Lamb statewide for the U.S. Senate next year. But he's not the only candidate. Jeff Bartos, who is a real estate developer from suburban Philadelphia, was a candidate for lieutenant governor, lost in the same election that John Fetterman won. Jeff Bartos is clearly a candidate. That's the guy he was running with, his running mate, Scott Wagner, who was the candidate, Republican candidate for governor in those years. There are other candidates. Kathy Barnett, who's a conservative commentator, is one of those candidates. And then Carla Sands, who has come out of nowhere. Was President Trump's ambassador to Denmark. What makes her a candidate? She's got a lot of money. And as you know, in this kind of a race, money does count, and we'll see how much it helps in this particular Republican primary. Republicans tend to zero in on a nominee during their endorsement process or their convention process early on. But I'm not sure that's going to work this year. I think we have some very powerful people, strong nominees in both parties who are going to run all the way to the primary in May of 2022.
No shortage of candidates to keep track of in your state, sir. Jon Delano, longtime friend of the program. Jon, thank you so much. We're always grateful to have your insight. Thank you.
Well, it's always fun to be on the show, and particularly with you, Elaine. Thank you again.
Take care.